yeah, so while you guys get warmed up and give us some questions in the comment of the video or right now in the live chat, we'll go through a question that we received during the week. And this is a question from Charlie Friel. And Charlie Friel say, hey, at NZ Pocket Guide. So I've put my top ideas, food, etc. below. We have 35 days and 10 of them will be in Christchurch with cousins for Christmas. Mostly campervanning or hostels. I would love your thoughts on what else we should add. And he has fish and chips in Wanaka, hoki poki ice cream, Jaffa, hangi with cooked kumara, Ferg burger in Queenstown, whale watching in Kaikoura, DIY walking tour in Renwick, kayak hire in Abel Tasman, the Maria Falls, Cape Falwin walk and the Seal Colony, Hokitikagor, past French Joseph thermal pools, bungee jump in Queenstown and stargazing in Lake Tekapo and visiting Lake Pukaki. All right, so here's how we're going to be doing this video. We decided to approach it a little bit differently. It looks like you're really into your food, Charlie. So I think what we should give you is more food options. So like that, it will add some dots to your map, and then you'll be able to research on NZ Pocket Guide and check out if there are any other places you to check out in those areas. But first, before I do that, I'm just going to go over some of the items that you have on your list and give you just a bit of an impression, a bit of a take on those. And then Laura will add some items onto your list. All right. So first up, you have fish and chips in Wanaka. Wanaka is quite central. It's kind of like one of the towns which is the furthest away, I'd say, from the coast than any other town that
it's quite ironic to have fish and chips there, really.
So it's so far away from the coast and everything that, you're probably going to have fish which will have been, frozen and transported. It's not going to be the freshest things. So I wouldn't have fish and chips in Wanaka. You can have fish and chips in pretty much every seaside town of New Zealand. I feel like having it in Wanaka is a little bit of a miss. So have it anywhere on the west coast of the South Island if you want. If you base yourself in Christchurch, you can have awesome fish and chips in the little town of Littletown. You can go to New Brighton. You can go to Akarora. All those places will have super fresh and awesome fish and chips. You're planning on going to Kaikoura, you're going to have amazing fish and chips in Kaikoura as well. So any of those places which are literally on the coastline of New Zealand would be, in my opinion, better spots for fish and chips. You were talking about hoki poki ice cream. You can have hoki poki ice cream pretty much everywhere in New Zealand. Let's be honest, there is it's on offer everywhere. But
wherever they sell ice cream, basically, yeah.
But if I was to recommend you one, and the name just skipped my mind. No, yeah, here you go. Giapo in Auckland. They do some really awesome ice cream over there. So it's called Giapo. Yeah. It's in Auckland Central. You want to get some Jaffa, which are like orange, round, very hard chocolate. You can get that from any supermarket. So when you stop by for a bit of grocery shopping,
pick some up.
Yeah. You want to have a hangi with cooked kumara. So pretty much every hangi comes with kumara. And if you guys don't know what kumara is, it's the Maori sweet potato. It's really good. And hangi is basically food cooked underground. The best place to experience hangi will be in the town of Rotorua, which is on the north island of New Zealand. You can have that as part of evening Maori tours, such as Nitai and Tamaki Maori Village. We're moving on.
Burger.
No, I don't have any comments on Ferg Burger. You will add some stuff. I saw that you wrote that down, so we're good. Yeah. I have a comment for your DIY walking tour in Renwick. So it's so if you guys don't know where Renwick is, it's in the heart of the Marlborough region, where you have some awesome wines over there. It's near the town of Blenheim, if you were to place it on the map. So it's on the top of the South Island of New Zealand. And I wouldn't recommend you to do a walking tour because the wineries are significantly far apart. So at the least expensive, you could do a biking tour if you want, or you can take a guided tour which takes you in the shuttle and everything. We have video on the channel of us doing that. We actually have a video on the channel of us doing all those things. But I wouldn't recommend walking. I think you're not going to have such a good time. The roads is not necessarily walking friendly because you literally just have a ditch. And like all the roads, they just have a ditch on the side, so you don't have like footpaths for people. So the cars are driving quite fast, and also you're quite far away. So I wouldn't do that. And finally, my last point that I have for you is when you do kayak hire in Abel Tasman, stop at there is kind of food truck / eatery called Tui Burgers, and you want to try this one out.
Yep.
Since you're into food. Okay, now you wanted us to add some stuff onto your itinerary, and that's Laura's area of expertise right here. So she's going to give you plenty of inspiration of stuff to add.
Okay, so since you are planning to go to Queenstown anyway and get a Ferg burger, another thing that I would suggest to do there is go to Eric's Fish and Chips, which is kind of like a fish and chip food truck there, but not just to get fish and chips there, but you definitely need to try the deep fried kiwi fruit. I mean, kiwi fruits are kind of big in New Zealand. They're grown. So try a deep fried one. They're interestingly they are. But they are pretty good.
Everything deep fried is pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Anything good by deep frying it. Next thing you should try when you are going into the supermarkets to get your Jaffas or whatever is some L&P, which is the New Zealand soda, basically. It's a bit of a sweeter lemonade, and you can go into any supermarket or any convenience store and get some. Otherwise, you can go to the town of Pairoa, which is actually where the drink originated from, and they have a giant statue to commemorate that, so you can go get your photo taken.
I'm just going to add something. The L&P tastes exactly the same should you drink it in Pairoa or buy it in the supermarket on the South Island. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Another thing you should do while you're on your seafood hunt is in Kaikoura, you should try some crayfish. It's pretty expensive. It's probably the most expensive seafood you can find in New Zealand, but you can buy them in halves as well if you don't want to pay the full $80 or whatever it is for a full crayfish. But yeah, that's it's kind of known as the crayfish capital, so that's the place to go and try some in Kaikoura. Another seafood thing to try in New Zealand is bluff oysters. Although they are taken from right down at the bottom of the South Island in Bluff, you don't actually have to travel all the way down there. You can find them basically in the Southland or Otago region pretty easily. So on the menus in Queenstown or in Invercargill, for instance, you will occasionally find bluff oysters on the menu. So that's worth a try. Another thing to try is kina. The way that we actually tried this, although we couldn't really find it on the menus anywhere.
No, it's hard to find out.
I was going to say, I think there is maybe on the west coast of the South Island, there are a few like kind of specialty fish and chip shops that do that. But the way we experienced it while traveling around New Zealand is in the Bay of Islands. There's various different tours like scuba diving tours or the rock adventure cruise, for example, which take you snorkeling, and you basically go diving for kina and you get to eat it as part of the experience. So that's another way to experience food. Another thing on the menu that's kind of New Zealand food is a kiwi burger. And what makes it a kiwi burger is that it also, as well as your normal sort of burger patty and lettuce and all that, it also has fried egg and beetroots. So if you want to try that combination, that is kind of known as a kiwi burger, and you'll find that on menus at most restaurants around New Zealand. Okay, and next pavlova, if you see that on the menu, that's always worth a try. It's basically meringue with lots of whipped cream and fresh fruit. It's very refreshing. Also, Manuka honey is a big thing in New Zealand, is really famous, and you can find that in supermarkets. You can also go to places like the Hooker Honey Hive, which is in Taupo, and that's like a place where you can taste lots of different honeys. But otherwise, occasionally while you're driving down the road, you'll see big signs saying honey and like pointing somewhere, and then you can go and try some honey there. And it's pretty easy to find around the country. Another seafood-related thing are power fritters. You can find these at some of the fish and chip shops along the west coast of the South Island. Also, another good place to try that is at the Auckland Fish Market. And finally on our list are savoury pies.
About that big.
Yeah. About that big. And Yeah, you can find them at most gas stations and convenience stores around the country, but it's usually better to go to an actual bakery to try them because they usually use sort of better ingredients and things. One of our recommendations, I think, would be the Fairley Bakery. It's some of the best.
Which is perfect since he wants to go stargazing in Tekapo and Lake Pukaki and everything. You're going to drive by Fairley.
Yeah,
no matter
Fairley's
what,
just outside of Lake Tekapo, so definitely stop by the Fairley Bakery to try one of their famous savoury pies, and we do have a video on the channel of us trying said savoury pie, so go check that out.
I think it's the bakery that won the most award in New Zealand, I think. Or
Probably. Well, they should have.
they are absolutely amazing. We had like crackling pork.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
really
so good.
good.
That was really awesome. All right, so that's our recommendation for like foodie things to add to your itinerary, Charlie. I hope that this made your itinerary even longer. If you do have any follow-up questions, you can leave them in the comment of this video. We do this live session every single week, so you can join us. It's at 8 a.m. on Sunday, New Zealand time. And yeah, this was recorded live. And in the meantime, we go back to the live chat. Okay, a lot has been happening on the live chat.